Alexander Pichushkin, also known as the Chessboard Killer, is a notorious figure in the annals of Russian criminal history. His story intertwines elements of a troubled childhood, a cold-blooded killing spree, and his eventual capture, painting a chilling portrait of a man who sought notoriety through heinous acts. Alexander Pichushkin was born on April 9, 1974, in Moscow, Russia. His early life was marked by instability and emotional turmoil. Pichushkin's father abandoned the family when he was very young, leaving his mother to raise him in a tumultuous environment. He faced bullying and was isolated from his peers, which contributed to a growing sense of resentment and anger. Pichushkin often felt like an outsider and struggled with feelings of abandonment. As a child, he exhibited disturbing tendencies, showing a fascination with death and violence. He reportedly tortured animals, a common precursor to violent behavior in future criminals. The chaotic nature of his home life, compounded by his experiences of bullying, sowed the seeds of a dark personality that would later emerge in his adult life. In his teenage years, Pichushkin became increasingly troubled. He became obsessed with chess, often playing alone in parks and honing his strategic thinking. This obsession with the game would later manifest in his chilling modus operandi. He started to harbor thoughts of murder, developing a twisted ambition to kill as many people as possible and make his mark on history. Pichushkin's first known murder took place in 1992, when he was just 18 years old. He killed a friend over a trivial dispute, and while he was never convicted for that crime, it marked the beginning of a horrifying trend. Over the next decade, he continued to harbor violent fantasies and began targeting vulnerable individuals, particularly homeless men, in Moscow's parks. Pichushkin's killing spree, which lasted from 1992 to 2006, showcased his methodical and calculated approach to murder. He would lure his victims to secluded areas in the parks of Moscow, often under the pretense of sharing a drink or playing chess. Once isolated, he would kill them using various methods, including bludgeoning and stabbing. His motivation was to reach a self-imposed goal of 64 murders, a number he believed would symbolize a chessboard. His victims were often chosen based on their perceived weakness or vulnerability, mirroring his own childhood experiences. Pichushkin's murders became increasingly brutal, and he took pleasure in the suffering of his victims. He would often leave the bodies in the parks, concealed beneath the underbrush, making it challenging for authorities to link the crimes initially. Pichushkin kept a diary of his murders, noting down the details and reflecting on his actions. This documentation was a means of tracking his progress toward his twisted goal. He felt a sense of power and control over his victims, a stark contrast to the feelings of helplessness he experienced in his youth. The turning point in Pichushkin's reign of terror came in 2006, when he was finally apprehended. Law enforcement began to connect the dots between a series of unsolved murders in Moscow's parks. Investigators discovered patterns in the killings, and Pichushkin quickly emerged as a primary suspect. He was arrested on June 16, 2006, after a particularly brutal murder where he was seen with the victim. During interrogation, Pichushkin initially denied the charges but eventually confessed to the murders. He claimed that he was driven by a desire to achieve a sense of immortality through his killings, believing that he would be remembered as one of history's most notorious criminals. His confession revealed the chilling extent of his actions, as he admitted to killing at least 49 people, though authorities suspect the number could be higher. Pichushkin's trial began in 2007 and attracted significant media attention, with many spectators drawn to the macabre nature of his crimes. The court proceedings were marked by Pichushkin's disturbing demeanor, as he often appeared emotionless and detached from the gravity of his actions. He showed little remorse for his victims, presenting himself as a self-proclaimed god who acted on impulse. In October 2007, Alexander Pichushkin was found guilty of 49 murders and sentenced to life imprisonment. The court described his actions as particularly cruel, and emphasized the premeditated nature of his crimes. The verdict brought some closure to the families of his victims, and marked the end of a dark chapter in Moscow's history. The story of Alexander Pichushkin serves as a haunting reminder of the complexities of human behavior, and the potential for darkness within individuals. His life trajectory, shaped by a troubled upbringing, highlights the role of environmental factors in the development of violent tendencies. The Chessboard Killer remains a chilling figure in criminal history, a symbol of the horrors that can emerge from a broken childhood and the depths of human depravity. While Pichushkin currently resides in a Russian prison, his story continues to captivate and horrify. Documentaries and books about his life and crimes explore the psychology of serial killers and the societal factors that contribute to such heinous acts. The legacy of his actions endures as a cautionary tale about the fragility of human life and the potential for evil that exists within society.